Did you know that in the 18th and 19th centuries, the whaling industry was so lucrative it accounted for a significant portion of the global economy? This industry, driven by the demand for whale oil and baleen, was as competitive as today's tech giants. According to recent statistics, whaling is a $31 million industry, while environmental groups spend at least $25 million on anti-whaling campaigns and activities. Join us as we delve into the untold story of this oceanic enterprise. A saga of wealth exploitation and a dramatic shift towards conservation. Chapter 1. Whales, the floating gold mines. In the golden age of the whaling industry, spanning from the late 1700s to the mid-19th century, whales were not just the giants of the sea. They were the bedrock of an economic empire. This era saw the rise of whaling as a pivotal industry, one that fueled the lamps of Europe and greased the wheels of the Industrial Revolution. Whale oil extracted from the blubber of these massive creatures was a highly prized commodity. It burned cleaner and brighter than other fuels and was a staple in households and industries. The baleen or whalebone was another valuable product, a flexible yet strong material used in a variety of everyday items from corsets and hoop skirts to buggy whips and umbrellas. The economic impact of whaling was profound. In the early 1800s, it was one of the most lucrative industries, particularly in the United States, which became a global leader in whaling. Cities like New Bedford and Nantucket in Massachusetts were thriving whaling hubs, often referred to as the oil capitals of their time. The industry not only created vast wealth, but also spurred advancements in shipbuilding, navigation, and international trade. However, this prosperity came at a steep environmental cost. Whalers ventured further into the ocean, hunting whales to near extinction in some regions. Species like the North Atlantic right whale and the sperm whale faced dramatic population declines. The industry was relentless, driven by profit and the belief in the inexhaustibility of nature. As we explore the rise of this industry, we also begin to see the early signs of its eventual decline. The dwindling whale populations, the increasing difficulty and danger of whaling expeditions, and the first murmurs of concern for the environment and the future of these ocean giants. Chapter 2. Innovation's Edge. The decline's catalyst. As the 19th century progressed, the whaling industry, much like a ship struggling against an increasingly strong current, began to face its own set of challenges. The catalyst for this change? A wave of innovation that was about to turn the tide on traditional whaling practices. The discovery and refinement of petroleum products in the mid-19th century marked the beginning of the end for whale oil's reign. Kerosene derived from petroleum emerged as a cheaper and more efficient fuel for lighting. It was as if the whales had sent a thank you note to the oil drillers, their new competition on the block. This shift was akin to trading in a horse and buggy for a steam engine. The world was moving at a faster pace, and the whaling industry struggled to keep up. The demand for whale oil plummeted, and with it, the once thriving whaling economies began to wane. It was a classic case of innovation outpacing tradition, a reminder that in the race of progress, those who don't adapt are often left behind. But it wasn't just the advent of petroleum that signaled trouble for the whaling industry. Advances in technology and changes in consumer preferences also played a role. The development of steel and other materials began to replace baleen in many products, further diminishing the demand for whale-derived materials. It was as if the world had suddenly gone on a whale product diet. As we bid farewell to the era of whale oil and baleen, we also begin to witness the early stirrings of environmental consciousness, a silver lining in the cloud of industrial progress. The story of the whaling industry is not just about the rise and fall of an economic giant. It's a narrative of adaptation, resilience, and the ever-changing relationship between humanity and nature. Chapter 3. The Environmental Cost. A World Awakening. As the 20th century dawned, the narrative of the whaling industry began to shift from economic triumph to ecological tragedy. It was as if Mother Nature herself was calling for an intervention. By the early 20th century, the population of North Atlantic right whales had been reduced to mere hundreds, a stark contrast from their once thriving numbers. It was a time when the world began to realize that the ocean's bounty wasn't an endless buffet, but a delicate ecosystem in need of balance and care. The relentless pursuit of whales had not only put these magnificent creatures at risk, but also disrupted the marine food chain. It was a classic case of, you don't know what you've got till it's gone, but with whales. The burgeoning environmental movement played a pivotal role in this awakening. Activists and scientists started to highlight the critical role whales play in the ocean's health. Did you know that whales, through their feeding and migration patterns, help in nutrient distribution and even carbon sequestration? It turns out these ocean giants were not just the stars of the sea, but also its unsung environmental heroes. This shift in perception was like a light bulb moment, ironically no longer powered by whale oil, for the global community. The plight of the whales began to symbolize the broader environmental challenges facing the planet. It was a wake-up call that resonated across nations, leading to the first steps towards international cooperation in marine conservation. Chapter 4. The Legal Net Tightens. As the 20th century marched on, the whaling industry found itself swimming in increasingly choppy legal waters. The world was no longer willing to turn a blind eye to the plight of the whales, and the legal nets cast by international agreements were starting to tighten, albeit with a few holes big enough for a whale to swim through. The 1946 International Convention for the Regulation of Whaling was a groundbreaking moment akin to calling a global timeout in the game of whale hunting. This convention, signed with a flourish by 15 nations, was the first serious attempt to put the brakes on the industry's free-for-all. It was like setting speed limits in the ocean's fast lane, but not everyone was keen on slowing down. Enter the International Whaling Commission, IWC, established under the convention. Its role? To be the referee in this high-stakes game. However, enforcing these new rules was as tricky as herding cats, or in this case, whales. Countries found loopholes, continued hunting under the guise of scientific research, and engaged in what could only be described as whale-fare diplomacy. Despite these challenges, the IWC slowly began to make waves. The 1982 moratorium on commercial whaling, for instance, was a landmark decision. It was like telling the industry, you've had your fun now, it's time for a long time out. But as with any good drama, not everyone stuck to the script. Some countries lodged objections, others found creative ways around the rules, and the debate over sustainable whaling versus conservation raged on. From legal loopholes to the gradual shift in public and political opinion, the journey of the whaling industry through the legal labyrinth is a fascinating tale. It's a reminder that change, especially on a global scale, is often a marathon, not a sprint. And in this marathon, the whales were finally getting some long overdue cheering from the decises. Chapter 5. Astounding Facts of the Industry. Here are some riveting facts of the industry that will surprise you. Flensers' expertise. The industry birthed a unique profession, flensers. These skilled individuals were tasked with efficiently stripping blubber from whale carcasses, a dangerous and physically demanding job. Henry Ford's connection, automobile pioneer. Henry Ford incorporated whalebone obtained from baleen plates into early automobile parts like gearshift knobs and horn buttons, showcasing the unexpected intersections between industries. Whale graveyards. Some locations like Red Bay in Canada are known as whale graveyards due to the unusually high number of whale remains found in the area, providing insights into ancient whaling practices. Sperm whales. Unique oil. Sperm whales were particularly sought after for their spermaceti oil, known for its unique properties including its ability to remain liquid at lower temperatures. This oil was highly prized for its use in fine machinery lubrication. Whale teeth currency. In some cultures, particularly in the Pacific, whale teeth were used as a form of currency or as valuable trade items, reflecting the high esteem in which these materials were held. Chapter 6. From Hunting to Conservation. The transformation of the whaling industry from a symbol of exploitation to one of conservation is a story of remarkable adaptation and change. In the latter part of the 20th century, as legal restrictions and public opinion turned against whaling, many traditional whaling communities faced an existential crisis. The industry that had sustained them for generations was no longer viable. Whale watching emerged as a lucrative alternative, transforming former whaling hotspots into hubs for marine conservation and ecotourism. In places like Iceland and Norway, where whaling had been a part of the cultural fabric, a new narrative began to take shape. These regions started promoting responsible whale watching, offering tourists an opportunity to witness these majestic creatures in their natural habitat. The economic impact was significant, a clear indication that conservation could be not just an ethical choice, but a financially sound one too. This shift also had profound implications for scientific research and our understanding of whales. As the focus moved from hunting to observation, researchers gained new opportunities to study whales in their natural environments. This research has been vital in understanding the complex social structures of whales, their migration patterns, and their crucial role in the marine ecosystem. For instance, studies have shown that the activities of whales, from their feeding habits to their movements, play a significant role in nutrient cycling and even in mitigating climate change. The story of this transformation is also a human one. It's about the fishermen and whalers who retrained as tour guides, the communities that rebranded themselves as stewards of the sea, and the activists who worked tirelessly to shift public perception. It's a narrative of resilience and adaptability, showcasing how economic necessity can lead to environmental innovation. This shift also had profound implications for scientific research and our understanding of whales. As the focus moved from hunting to observation, researchers gained new opportunities to study whales in their natural environments. This research has been vital in understanding the complex social structures of whales, their migration patterns, and their crucial role in the marine ecosystem. For instance, studies have shown that the activities of whales, from their feeding habits to their movements, play a significant role in nutrient cycling and even in mitigating climate change. In this video, we explore the multifaceted aspects of this transition, the economic, ecological, and cultural shifts that turn the tide for the whaling industry. From the decks of whaling ships to the lookout points of whale-watching tours, this journey is a testament to the power of change and the enduring resilience of both humans and nature.